This is Starcast, the official podcast of your Billingham Stars. Watch and listen for the very latest news and interviews from within the Big Red Machine.
Starcast is recorded before a live studio audience. Hello, welcome to episode 15 of your official Billingham Stars podcast. This is Starcast of your Billingham Town Council sponsored Billingham Stars. Back with episode 15, as we say. One game weekend to look at from last weekend, one game to look at for next weekend. Plenty in between, including a great interview as well with a player who plays NIHL, has played against the Billingham Stars, and is also a Great Britain captain. So more on that later. A warm welcome back, Jono and Carol. Thanks for coming along this Tuesday night. Definitely Tuesday night. Check note. Yeah, 100% Tuesday. And this week, we'll kick straight off to it then. With a trivia question. What do you call it when the other team scores more goals than we do? We've never had one of these for a while. And I had to rack my brains after Sunday night. But the first time since the end of September for the Billingham Stars, 11 games between defeats, but they did go down to a loss at Blackburn on Sunday, 7-3. We'll give you the info if we really have to. I suppose we should. Jacob Lutwich opened the scoring early and doubled it, and then it was 3-0 Blackburn before the end of the first. James Helens got one back for Billingham Stars. Middle period, pretty much all Billingham. We'll hear from the guys in a minute on how the game was, but on the scoreboard, James Moss in his return game, and then just seconds later, Ian Brown, his 33rd goal of the season, and we'll just leave the number 16 there and just say nothing about it. But however, third period, Blackburn took control once again. Darragh Sporforth, Josh Crawley, Adam Barnes on the 5-on-3 power play in the last couple of minutes, and James Riddick in the last minute still on the power play, and finished off a 7-3 final. Carol, we said last week we had an icky feeling, and 25 seconds in, it started to come to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, I think I sent a few messages before the game that I had that weird, horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach when I realised what the team sheet was like. Hey, excuse alert, Solihull Barons fans. You can't go to Blackburn with the ice pad that they've got, with the firepower that they've got with 4D men. You just can't. As soon as I saw it, I thought, I don't feel good about this. I think it's too much of an ask. That said, I think we were our own worst enemy in the first period. We were too standoffish, too cautious. I guess that's quite understandable when you've got multiple suspensions going on, that you don't want to do anything that might cause the team further problems. But I thought we took that too far, way too standoffish. At least their first 3 goals, they were pretty much given the freedom of Blackburn to walk through and score. So yes, we were short bench, but we did create problems for ourselves, certainly in the first period. Second period, totally different team, which was quite bizarre. Hopefully that's due to words said in the dressing room, etc. But they just did seem to gel a lot more in the second, and certainly got our reward. And then I don't know, for whatever reason, the third period seemed to change it all around again, and it didn't work. And again, kind of made things really difficult for ourselves, and Blackburn were more up for it than we were. So yeah. Deserved victory at the end of the day for Blackburn, but I think if we're going to look at our own performance, we have to look at how easy we did make it for them in certain areas of the ice, and we have to address that before Solihull come to form on Sunday.
Yeah, Jono, it was the typical game of 3 halves, really. Then, so it was all Blackburn, all Billingham, and then Old Blackburn again in a third. And I think Foz mentioned in his post game the constant chop and change of the lines either before the game or during the game, and it obviously didn't help. And Billingham never got into a rhythm.
Yeah. I think Carroll's nailed it twice there. With the 4D, you can't go to good teams with 4D. I don't think you can go away from home with 4D. I think at home with your own crowd, you can probably buy a game or two, or play lesser teams, and you can buy a game or two like we did previously against Widnes. But yeah, far too much respect to them as well. I think we knew they were going to come hard at us. They said so. They were going to come hard at us from the first drop of the puck. It's the way they go. They try and jump on teams. We just had a 2-3 hour bus journey, so the legs won't have been fully ready to go. And Blackburn capitalised, and we give them the room to do it.
Yeah, and you mentioned the firepower they've got. They were pretty much at full strength. They were missing James Royds, who picked up a suspension thanks to a DRS review from last weekend in the Solihull game, but pretty much at full strength. So the likes of the forward lines, Aaron Davies, obviously Josh Crawley, who came to prominence last year, Jacob Lutwich, who's probably been there, although maybe he's not their biggest name, he's been probably their biggest performer. Dara Sporforth has been their addition this year. Adam Barnes chipping in at the end, and Andy McKinney with 3 assists as well. So their top players did the business, and I think you've said it on social, Jono. I think now we know what we're up against when we play them in a couple of weeks when we're hopefully at full strength. We know the measure of what we have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. They've shown the hand, and I think unfortunately the Hawks had to. They have to win these 3 games in our mini series, or it could be a long season in second place. We are a good team. We've got to remember that. We know players are coming back into this, and I think when our backs are against the wall, I think we're just as dangerous as we are when we're dominating games. Like I said, we give them too much time, too much respect, and I certainly don't think that'll happen second time round.
Yeah. I mean, you spoke to Foz after the game, Carol. We'll put the link to Big Red Machine Radio. A good 7-8 minutes, kind of breaking down what happened and how things went out. Do you think he kind of misjudged trying to go with 4D? I know that they tried to add Rowley kind of partway through the game, but as Jono said, having to play that 4D, we did it against Widnes at home. Like I said, Jono said a few weeks ago, but going to the big ice on Blackburn is a completely different story.
Yeah, I think there was a few mistakes made on the night that, benefit hindsight though, isn't it? You look back and you think, yeah, probably wouldn't have done that knowing what I know now. But a few mistakes made for me. Yeah, you can't go to Blackburn with 4D. I think we'll learn that lesson the hard way. Some of the lineups, the forward lineups, didn't make much sense to me. And to be honest, you could kind of see it in certainly the third period, where some of the moves we were trying to pull off just weren't there. The lines weren't clicking anywhere near as much as they have been in recent weeks. And as I say, it's all learning, really. You kind of look and you think, yeah, benefit hindsight, possibly made a mistake or two, but it's mistakes that hopefully won't be repeated. And we've got D-men coming back, thank goodness. And we've got the opportunity to maybe go with some more settled lines over the next few weeks. So, hopefully this is just a little bump in the road.
Yeah. I mean, all eyes are on the home and away in a couple of weeks' time. It's kind of looming large. We do have a game before that, which we'll talk about later. We said last week as well that Blackburn were probably aside from ourselves, the informed team. So we to give them the boost that I said, John said it was a must win for them, to give them the boost. And we know from last year when they get on a roll, how annoyingly good they can be. So it's frustrating that going back to the cup final from last year, the first minute goal, Josh Crawley, and that kind of set the tone. The first minute goal again, was that disappointing, Jono? As obviously you've just getting settled, you want a big start, and then they come out and 25 seconds in, it's 1-0.
I mean, I think I think there might have been a bit of case of here we go again, because obviously they got the second very, very quickly again. But we certainly shouldn't be surprised by it. It's what they do. It's what they said they were going to do with an interview during last week. So it's what they'll do next time we play them. They'll try and hit us hard and hit us early. I think the disappointing from my thing is we kind of got our foot back into the game in that first period, even though we were nowhere near them in the first period. We kind of settled things down. And then we got the sucker punch of the third goal. We give, I think it's Sporforth. Never mind the freedom of Blackburn. I think we give him the freedom of the Northwest. And he skated in, made it 3-0. But even then, we did all the hard work. We dominated that second period. We got it back to 3-3. And I think they probably would have went in that room thinking, oh, God, here we go. The Stars have turned up. And for whatever reason, Carol mentioned, we made some changes. Maybe we were happy to settle on that 3-3 and go to overtime and just say, yeah, take a point out of here. We'll get out of here and we'll go again in a couple of weeks. But I don't know, yeah. A few, Carol said, yeah, it was strange moves in the third period, especially when the hard work was done getting back into the game at 3-3.
Yeah. I mean, I said obviously I was watching from afar on Sunday night, but I said on social, it was kind of after the second period, it was perfect for an away game, let alone a Blackburn. It's like win a period, win the game, and it was all set up. And I don't know if it's frustrating. I don't know how. Obviously, Fuzzy was disappointed and frustrated, probably in equal measure. But to be set up at 3-3 after 40 minutes, and then to lose by 4 goals, just a couple of minutes, a couple of PPs at the end. Was the 7-3 reflection? Was that a fair scoreline? After the way it was after 40 minutes?
No, I don't think so. I think I think the 2 late power play goals were put a gloss on the result for Blackburn that they possibly didn't deserve. They clearly deserved to win, but 7-3, I don't think there was 4 goals difference between the teams. It is frustrating. It's quite ironic as well that a lot of these changes were not forced on us, but they came from having a couple of players back. So we were slotting Mossy and Conor McNulty back into the lines, and for whatever reason, second period it really worked. Third period it really didn't. It's just it is an odd one. It was an odd game to watch. But as I think I said to Foz afterwards, there was lots of lessons to learn from the result, and hopefully we do learn them. And don't get me wrong, I think we sat here and we sound a bit doom and gloom, but there was plenty of bright spots to take from that performance. Jacob Hammond, by the way, kept us in it in the first period. He was
still the coolest man in Blackburn.
It was absolutely immense. And then you've got Ian Brown scoring again. There's plenty that we can take from that result. The way we came back to make it 3-3. So it's certainly not all doom and gloom. We just need to make sure we've learned those lessons, because I do think a lot of the defeat was down to us making a few mistakes rather than Blackburn being way better than us.
Yeah. So it's kind of treated as a dress rehearsal for the double header in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously, we've got Solihull in the meantime, but we've got 4 good training sessions before the double header. Put plenty right and work out the lines. They say have to fit in. It's a nice problem to have, having to fit in James Moss, having to fit in Conor McNulty. Hopefully, having to fit in a couple of weeks' time another couple of D-men would be nice. It's a nice problem for Fuzzy to have, but obviously, if we get a couple of weeks training with that kind of combinations, and we know what we're doing come 2 weeks' time. Anything else on Blackburn? It was another good travelling support. Obviously, we'll talk about the double header and the bus trip. We're trying to arrange for a couple of weeks' time. But as always, the Big Red Machine travelling in good numbers and good voice in the Blackburn arena.
Yeah,
good. Great numbers. I chose to take the game in from the balcony this time. I don't know why. I just thought couldn't be doing with another cup game like last year, so I tried to change the look a bit and watch the game from somewhere else. But yeah, a great amount of support there. Made plenty of noise. But yeah, the one thing I will say is Blackburn, sort that ice surface out, please. It's doing either team no good.
Yeah.
And it's still cold. It's still cold. And I'm going to take their social media task. There was a post went out about how the atmosphere was electric. I actually thought it was dead compared to previous Blackburn visits. I thought it was really quiet, apart from some annoying Burke with a whistle, which I didn't think was allowed in games, but there you go. I didn't get much of an atmosphere from their rink at all, certainly not compared to previous visits. So it's still cold. Keep people, bring your thermals in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the double header in a bit later on when we talk through any other business. But we'll leave the Blackburn game there. We'll do the results and tables shortly as we normally do. But we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, as I said at the top, we've got an interview with Jono and myself yesterday, recorded with a player who played against Billingham, but is also a JB captain. And you can get that the other side of the break. This is Starcast from your Billingham Town Council sponsored Billingham Stars. So welcome back. Starcast continues, and you'll see there's just Jono and myself. Carol can't make this section. The magic of TV. This is a pre-record of an interview. Our interview today, the player does play NIHL, but is also Great Britain International and Great Britain captain. And a rather big tournament coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're delighted to be joined from the Coventry Blaze NIHL, the Solihull Vixens and Great Britain Women's captain. It's Jodie Alderson-Smith. Jodie, thanks for joining us here on Starcast.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure is all ours. And we'll start with, I say, the next couple of weeks. I think every year since we came back from COVID, every year has been a big year for GB women, but this year in particular, the Olympic qualifiers on home ice, Sheffield in just a couple of weeks' time, and it's a huge opportunity for the team to continue their growth of the last few years, but to move on in the Olympic qualifiers.
Yeah, it's a huge year. The last time we played in the Olympic qualifiers, I think we played really well. We were unlucky to not qualify through to the next round. We just missed out on one goal. But since that tournament, we've grown as a team. Tournament on tournament, obviously we won the gold straight after that tournament, and then we've been in 1B since. And yeah, we're developing as a 1B team now, and I think that we're ready to compete in the qualifiers and then show the UK what we can actually do now.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about that the last qualifiers held in Nottingham. I think it was 2021. I say the first big tournament after the lockdown and what have you. And that weekend, it was again the same set was as this weekend coming, but the crowd grew game on game on game, and the final game we filled the full side of the NIC, and it was a fantastic atmosphere, fantastic advert for GB women, and that's something you're looking to replicate in Sheffield in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, definitely. The crowds grew, and I think that just made us play better, and obviously getting the support from the crowd just made us want it again and want to do it again in Sheffield, definitely.
And the tournament, we'll say it's at Ice Sheffield. It's the Netherlands, it's Spain, and it's Latvia. Latvia, of course, just last year we played them in their barn at the World Championships. Spain, as you say, is the promotion tournament in Haka. Netherlands, we haven't seen them for a couple of years. They've been in the division above 1A. But three opponents that we've played before, that we've beaten before, and it's a huge opportunity. Yeah,
I think it'll be really exciting. Spain are up and coming. They've got a lot of roller hockey players, so they're together quite a lot. I believe the Latvians are now playing in the European Women's League, so again they're together a lot. And then the Netherlands are just a solid team. But I think we've been around this 1B group for a while now, and then obviously with our Four Nations, we get to play Denmark, who are in that higher division. So we know what we're coming against. The Netherlands is going to be a really, really tough game, but I think the girls are ready, and the girls are ready to go and get through this round and go to the next round in February.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, it's Thursday the 12th, Saturday the 14th, Sunday the 15th. They're the game days. It's Latvia first, then it's Spain, and we finish off against the Netherlands. You mentioned the promotion and the World Championships the last few years. What's also been noticeable is the squad is grown, the wider squad, and for like the 25th tournament in a row, Mike's named a different squad to what he's had before. Some more new caps, bringing players through from the 18s, and it shows the kind of there's no closed door. It's a free. You have to fight to get your place in the women's squad. But also the number of players who can play for GB Women is growing, and it's a huge talent pool now to choose from.
Yeah, the 18s have shown in their last couple of tournaments like how much potential they have. I think this year we've just got Ruby, but she's an incredible player and she's earned her spot in the senior team. So definitely, I think the 18s are looking up to Ruby to see what she can do and what is the potential there. And yeah, the talent pool is huge. I think Mike had about 40 girls to choose from at the start, and then it cut down to around 30, and again he had to then drop it down to the 22. And there's players that have missed out this year that made the team last year, players that have come back after a couple of years out, and no, it's exciting because there's so many players that are available to play for our team, and it's just an exciting time.
Yeah, Jono.
Yeah. So basically, what I was thinking is a bit of a comparison to the men. Really, I mean, the men have done wonders over the last few years, and I think they've helped grow the game considerably. And I mean, their success that they've had when they went back to back with Belfast, Budapest. I know they stayed up a year or two and then went down and came back up again. I mean, has their success hindered you? Is that anything like? Has it put more pressure on you that we now need to succeed, or is it just that inspiration, that motivation? They've done it, let's go and do it, and let's get Great Britain hockey as a whole rolling.
No, I think so. I think like obviously we want to do as well as they're doing. They're a little bit forward in their positioning at the minute, but I think the women's game takes a little bit longer to kind of develop into the groups. The gaps are so big between like 2A and 1B. Like we realized when we went to Korea how much more physical it was, how much more faster it was. So it does take some time to develop, and hopefully like this year will be a big year, playing a lot of good talent, and we'll see what happens from qualifiers and then from Worlds as well.
Yeah, and you say the squad, and one of the things that I think Jono's going to bring up as well, a lot of the players are playing NIHL, like yourself. I don't, Jono, do you want to bring that in and see the kind of comparisons?
Yeah, it's more. I mean, obviously you've seen it a lot right across the board, north and south now, and it's more of the effectiveness. I mean, even for just you personally, how are you feeling, and how do you find playing that men's competition and then taking it back to a women's Premier League game, or even going up to GB as well? Do you feel that benefits you, and how it benefits you?
So the difference, like obviously playing men's is a lot more faster. The guys are a lot bigger and more stronger. But then when we come against the likes of Poland, Slovakia for one last year at Worlds, and it will be the same with the Netherlands, they are that much bigger than us. For some reason, the UK, we are quite a small nation in height-wise. And again, I think the speed and the physicality playing men's does definitely help. Unfortunately, the women's league in the UK isn't the best, but it is up and coming, and hopefully in the next couple of years, like it will kind of support the women's game, the women's like Worlds a bit more. But I think the reason like behind that girls are playing men's or training with boys and things like that, it is to help us and make us all that little bit better.
Yeah. The other thing that noticeably the last couple of years is particularly North America, the PWHL coming on board, and that's kind of seemed to have worldwide kind of made women's hockey more of a focus and given it more of a platform. Have you noticed anything kind of bouncing over to this side of the pond from the likes of the impact of the PWHL?
I think one of the things like for us at Solihull, we're trying to make our game day experience kind of run towards a professional like situation. So we have a 20-minute warm-up, we have ice cuts between each period, and I think a couple of the teams are starting to do that in the league. Obviously, it all depends on costing and ice time, and we're fortunate at Solihull that we've got a good sponsor who can support that. So when we're at home, obviously we have that feeling, and so that helps us when we get to the international stage, especially.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the women's elite league. It's a relatively young league, the elite league part of it, because it obviously used to have the 3 divisions. But then when they made the elite league, I think it's just, I don't think it's even 10 years old. The women's elite league, there's top 6 the best of the best playing more games against each other. And it's only the last few years, perhaps, where you're starting to see the benefit of that. The best players in the best teams playing each other a lot more often, which is what the competition wanted.
Yeah, the gap in the league isn't as big as it used to be. It used to be from top to bottom was quite a big gap. But now you're seeing teams at the bottom of the league like challenging the top. So Whitley Bay, for instance, took Queen Bees to the last period a few weeks ago, and it was only a 1-goal game for quite a long time. And yeah, I think we're playing 4 games against the other teams. So yeah, it's going to be a good challenge, us playing against the best of the best, like you said. And a majority of it is GB players against GB players. So it's only going to benefit the programme.
Yeah. When it's the likes of yourselves and the Queen Bees or Guildford, like you say, the number of GB players on show is good. So you've got that kind of competition between the teams, but also competition between the players, because obviously the squads are coming up, so the place is up for grabs. So I know the women's hockey community is quite small, but is there still that rivalry once you're playing against the Queen Bees? Obviously, a lot of the girls from GB, but when you're wearing your club strips, it's a different story.
Definitely between Vixens and Queen Bees, it gets quite feisty at times. There's no friendships when we're playing against each other, but as soon as it's finished, it's back to being friends, and we're back to, well, we could be the next weekend putting on a GB jersey and being on the same team as each other. So you kind of have to put that aside when you're in your clubs. But as soon as it's back to GB, it's all good again.
Yeah. We mentioned at the top, you obviously played NIHL with Coventry. I think it was 2018. You started with the Blaze NIHL. Can you tell us? Obviously, I think you play more on D with the Blaze. You obviously play forward at GB. A lot of the women seem to be playing D for the men's teams. Is that just a style thing, or is it fit easier to play D on the men's teams?
Yeah, I guess so. I think for me playing D for Coventry, I can make the hit, whereas if I'm playing as a forward, I'm going to be like being the one hit. So it's more like I can control what happens. Obviously I still get bashed around in the corners and taken out mid-ice, but no, I think for me as a player playing in the NIHL, D is where I feel most comfortable. I have played the few games forward. When I guested for Deeside that time, I played forward against the Stars. And that was a completely different ball game. That was so much faster and more physical. It was exciting to play that level as well.
Oh, going to mention that, Jono, the memory of the NIHL 1 debut of the JB captain against Billingham. It doesn't happen every day. Billingham play the JB captain.
No, it was more. I was going to ask, what was your experience of that? How did you feel, like the game, the speed of the game, and then what do you sort of take from a game like that as well?
I think so. The difference between like the first league and the second league, the players in the first league are more on like my wavelength. So like I was putting a pass out and they were in the right place, whereas sometimes in NIHL 2, I'll see a vision and I'll see a pass, and it takes our team a little bit longer to kind of see it. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but definitely the speed and the like brain, I don't know, the kind of like their thought path was a lot quicker in NIHL 1. I didn't find it as physical, not so like it was physical, but not as like silly hits. Whereas in the second league, definitely get some silly hits and just not like unnecessary ones. So that's definitely the difference.
Yeah, the two teams are two high skill teams as well, which is obviously where you would benefit with your skill set as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Bringing it back to the GB squad, obviously counting down to the qualifiers. The couple of weeks ago, the head-to-head with Poland, playing at Lee Valley again. End of year, you had a camp before that, and then finished with 2 games against Poland. You mentioned that the side difference. Poland's have always been a big physical team, which is what you're likely to face, particularly in Division 1. How was that weekend? We split the series with Poland, but they've always been a difficult opponent for us, and getting a W over them must have been good as well.
Yeah, it was good. we didn't put the same team out either night, so it was different lines, different combinations. A few of the injured girls kind of sat out and just rested those games, getting ready for the qualifiers. So yeah, it was a good challenge. I think Poland basically brought their full squad. So we were playing a top quality nation for both games. But no, it was good to get the win. Obviously good to play overtime and penalty shots as well, because that's something that we don't practice in the UK, especially in the Elite League. So yeah, it was really good to have that opportunity to play them two games.
And that's the kind of thing we've seen at the last few years when you've played the Four Nations, when you've been playing these better teams as a warm up. You've kind of felt the benefit when you've gone into the tournament. So that's the kind of thing you're hoping to kick on from that weekend, take it into the qualifiers.
Yeah, no, it's always good to get some games under your belt. It's like also the friendly games that we're going to be playing in Sheffield. I think we're playing Spain and the Netherlands beforehand. And that's the time to practice things. It's the time to make them mistakes. And then once it comes to the real thing, and then you know what's to go. And yeah, it's just to get the nerves out kind of thing. Obviously, the first game of the tournament, everyone gets the little nerves before. But I think the big nerves come out in the friendly game. And that's where you go out, you enjoy it, and you just work on those things that need to be worked on.
Yeah. And just about the squad, as I say, the final squad was named just last week. And as I say, as is Mike's way, more new caps, expanding the squad, and players have made their debut who are you're familiar with, playing at Solihull with yourself. So can you tell us a bit about Maddie and Robin, who are going to make their GB debuts?
Yeah, it's really exciting. Maddie's first cap. She's a solid D. She's quite a tall D and just steady and just kind of does her job. She doesn't overthink things and just doesn't do anyone else's jobs. And I think she's happy to just do whatever. If she gets 10 shifts, she's not bothered. She's just happy to make that team. And then Robin, she's an exciting one because she's kind of been in the UK for a long time. Now got a British passport. This is her first year as a Vixen. But she's been playing with Nottingham, scoring a lot of goals in the lower league, and then since she's come to Solihull, she made a huge impact, centre in our second line, and just like bringing the younger ones on. She's on a line with Alicia Potts and Peyton Fincher. So again, they're two young players, but actually having that knowledge around them is really helping, and I think she'll do a really good job in the GB shirt.
Yeah, and at the other end of the scale, it's the GB cap leader who's came back after missing last year's Worlds. Adding Katie Henry to the squad is can't be understated. It is huge having Katie back in the squad.
Yeah, it's been a year in the making, trying to get her back, and luckily this year it's been able to work. And she's a natural goal scorer. She's a natural centre, and that's something that the team kind of miss. So now I'm excited that she's back, and the way she's going this season, she's going to be sniping all tournament.
Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. So we'll point people to icehockeyuk.co.uk. All the links are there for the tournament tickets. It's £15 plus fees for adult for a day ticket. There's 2 games every day. It's Thursday the 12th, Saturday the 14th, and Sunday the 15th of December. Jono, anything from yourself?
No.
Are you going to go to Sheffield?
It all depends on my schedule. Yeah.
I've
got a lot on. This podcast, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah. No, it's going to be, as I say, the experience of the last qualifiers in Nottingham. If we can replicate that, so get the fans in the stands. The games are friendly times as well. It's lunchtime and tea time. They're no really late games, so I think 4 o'clock are the GB face-offs every time. So we can get Sheffield's a good venue, easy to get to, quite central. So fingers crossed, Jodie, we can get the attendance record that we set in Nottingham. We can challenge that in a full barn in Sheffield. Yeah,
I think it'll be really good if we can definitely at least 3/4 fill it, and progress each game, and hopefully by the last game it's a full barn and loud. I think the GB supporters club will be there with their drums, so I'm sure they'll just make up for the rest of the sound.
Yeah, no, really looking forward to it. Just last one, just kind of back to the PWHL in a way. They obviously had their first season without any names and what have you. They were just Toronto and Montreal and what have you. Have you seen obviously since they named the team names and logos and jerseys and things? Have you seen those and had any thoughts on those?
I like some of them. I think some of them are a bit basic, but I think the Montreal one is the nicest, definitely.
Is the correct answer? Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it's the best one, that one, definitely.
Yeah.
Jono, with you?
Yeah, I'm the Montreal Victor as well, is it?
Yeah.
Nice jersey, nice logo as well.
Yeah, Montreal. The Toronto is Toronto would be my team, but the TS is too much Taylor Swift. But no, we appreciate you coming on, Jodie. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks in Sheffield, and best luck with that tournament. Obviously, the rest of the year with Coventry NIHL, and appreciate you coming on to Starcast and talking all things women's hockey with us.
No, thank you for having me.
Welcome back again to Starcast, and thanks to Jodie Alderson-Smith, Great Britain's women's captain, plays the Solihull Vixens, and also Coventry Blaze NIHL in North Division 2. John and I had the chat. Carol, you've had a chance to watch it now. What do you think of Jodie and her thoughts on women's hockey and NIHL?
Oh, I thought it was a really interesting chat. I'm always keen to hear from those women who've stepped into the men's game. I know, strictly speaking, it's mixed at this level, but I'm always interested to hear how that works and from a practical point of view. So I was really pleased to hear about that, and just to hear about how passionate she is for the game, and how she sees women's hockey developing in this country. It was a fabulous interview, and yet again, I think we've managed to bring on a really interesting guest who brings along a little bit more interest to this podcast.
Yeah, no, spreading our horizons far and wide. And Jono, it was interesting that she obviously remembered playing against the Billingham Stars. She obviously loves us, and we are her favourite Division 1 team. It goes without saying. She didn't actually say it herself, but I'm sure it goes without saying.
Yeah, and she made some fascinating comments about that game as well. Like when she said she was out on the ice and the player was going around her, and she had to stand back and just take a deep breath into how fast it actually was. So yeah, I mean, you could see the passion coming out in her for hockey in general, for women's hockey, and for Team GB and what's lies ahead for them. Yeah,
as we said, it'll be in the show notes as well. It's a couple of weeks' time at ICE Sheffield. They play the Netherlands, Spain, and Latvia. The penultimate round of Olympic qualifiers. If they win through this, it'll be another round in February. But it is Thursday the 12th, Saturday the 14th, and Sunday the 15th. 2 games each day at ICE Sheffield, £15 plus fees for your tickets. We'll put the link in it'll be down below when I finish editing later on. But yeah, no, it was great to chat with Jodie. Obviously, I've worked with her at GB for a while, so I know how passionate she is. And I say playing NIHL for a few years as she's been. And I think, Carol, you mentioned it was something you were interested in, the number of women who are playing NIHL. And from talking to them and at the GB camps, it does help them prepare for international hockey, which is, in terms of pace and physicality, a lot more akin to NIHL than the domestic women's game is here in the UK. So thanks to Jodie. Hope you did enjoy that. Let us know in the comments, and if you want any more women's hockey. Do you agree about the PWHL jersey, by the way, Carol? Montreal is the best, which is at least fine. It's hard for me to say.
Just nod.
It's the only one you can pick.
Yeah. As a Toronto hockey person, saying the Montreal is best is difficult. But as far as PWHL goes, I think Montreal Victoire have knocked it out of the park. But anyway.
Agreed.
Is it Victor or Victoire?
Victoire.
I think it's Victoire. Yeah.
I didn't do very well in French.
Yeah. But no, it was great to chat with Jodie, and I said I'll be down in Sheffield in a couple of weeks, so we'll give people a reminder. And also, while I remember, we mentioned their rivalry with the Queen Bees, who play out of Slough since the closure of Bracknell, and they actually played this weekend in Slough. Queen Bees versus Solihull Vixens, top of the table in the Women's Elite League. So good luck to Vixens in that one, and to Jodie. On with our regular advertised lineup then. The results from Morley North Division 1 from last weekend. And once again, thanks to England Ice Hockey's media team for the graphics. we'll go through the results, and then if any pop out that you may want to talk about, we'll do that. Saturday, Nottingham 4, Whitley 5. That was on the big arena pad. That was the lunchtime game. Late comeback from the Warriors. Hull 1, Solihull 5. And Deeside beat Leeds by 2 touchdowns to 1 down at the Castle. Rare old game, that one. That's Heineken on drugs, that one. 14-7. What?
Proper defensive battle, that one.
Yeah. When we get to the Sunday games, I've realised with my keen media eye the difference between Leeds' defence on Saturday and Sunday. Well, particularly their guy between the pipes. But anyway, Sunday's action: Sheffield 1, Hull 7, Whitley 3, Leeds 6, Deeside 4, Widnes 5, Blackburn. Don't know about that one. And the late game. Nottingham having a home double header. This was on the CCM rink. Nottingham 3, Solihull 7. So a 6-point weekend for the Solihull Barons, which is obviously what we all want to talk about. What do you want to pick on first, Jono? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go with the Solihull Barons with 2 impressive wins, really. But let's just start at Hillhead, shall we? What happened at Hillheads? What went on there then, eh? What happened? I mean, I've seen a lot of fans chirp the Stars for losing on Sunday, but I think they should have been looking a bit closer to home, I reckon. 6-3 on home ice. Well, it's a bit of a shocker, that one. I think that had a few people in Blackburn laughing, put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what happened. Michael Deneco happened. 4 goals, including a third period natural hat-trick. 3-3 after 40 minutes.
Didn't Harrison Walker happen as well?
Sorry?
I think Harrison Walker happened as well.
Well, that's the difference between Leeds' defence on Saturday and Leeds' defence on Sunday. Number 32 in net for Leeds Knights to Harrison Walker. Checks notes here. 3 goals on 57 shots. Whereas Leeds scored 6 times on 22 shots. So Harrison Walker.
Harrison Walker had a night.
Leeds not playing Sunday. Leeds big team.
They were at home to Peterborough.
Interesting that they choose to let Harrison away for that, but yeah,
I think someone did say that it's due to Leeds have 18s having a game or 19s, so they were very depleted.
So we'll see what. I mean, that makes sense because a lot of the step up from 19s to play NIHL 2, Leeds 2, NIHL 1, very confusing. But talking about Michael Deneco, he had a bit of a game on Saturday as well. He had 1+4 on Saturday, and then what did I say? It was 4+. Scrolling. This looks great on telly. This scrolling down. Well, I lost the Whitley game. There it is. 4+1. So 5 goals, 5 assists over the weekend for Michael Deneco. And we said we'd seen him play for Sheffield the last couple of years, and we'd said it in my pre-season episode. He was one of the ones we were looking forward to seeing play regular NIHL with Leeds, and he's come to the party big style this weekend. To say a third period natural hat trick. After that, any other
13+2 as well? The Leeds roster, very short.
Yeah, I've just noticed that as well. Yeah. Short on bodies. I say shot count was massively against, but Harrison 54 saves. That'll do you. 54 saves a night. Yeah, I'll certainly help. The other game I was going to mention that the Deeside, the NFL game on Saturday, 14-7. Deeside 5 for 8 on power plays. That'll kill you as well.
Yep.
But that's just a strange old game from top to bottom, that one. Hayek 1-5. Jake Wachowski, he's back with a bang with a capital B. 4 goals, 5 assists. I mean, it's not 11 points, it's 9. It's not 11, but good try. Deeside on Sunday, Jono?
Yeah. I don't know. Those of you that listened to my podcast last week would have heard me and Graham probably go to town a bit on Widnes, rightly or not. We only commented on the season so far. Maybe some of the players listen, maybe some of them don't care at all, but I think they were due a performance, and they certainly put one in Deeside on Sunday night. And some would say, is that a bigger shock than the Leeds result?
Yeah. In terms of where they are in the league, I would say probably so. But obviously Mikey Gilbert, the evergreen Mikey Gilbert, 1 goal, 3 assists. Bailey Thompson, 1 goal, 2 assists with a game winner. But the thing that I noticed, and it's been a theme for Deeside, I don't know if he's injured, but the 2 netminders were Ollie Booth and Jace Gledhill. So the starter wasn't even there. And again, 5 goals on 26 shots. Harry Campbell played for Widnes, made 35 saves. So again, netminding a big difference, and it's been a theme for Deeside, isn't it, Jono, and Carol? Anybody?
Yeah,
anyone?
I think we said in one of the very first episodes. I think mainly Carol said netminding was going to be a key look for Deeside to see how they would go.
Mm-hmm.
Even before Witkowski came in, they had a decent roster, but we were a bit unsure on the netminding. It turns out they were very unsure on the netminding and ended up bringing Matt Crowell back. But I don't know if it's a work thing, an injury thing, but I think he's missed more than he's played since he signed back, and it's hurting the Dragons quite a lot.
Yeah, on the Leeds game, they had Ollie Booth and Phil Pearson, former Billingham alert, ex of this parish, Phil Pearson. And then obviously Sunday they had Booth and Gledhill. So starting goalie nowhere to be seen. Paul Maudsley was back up on Sunday, but didn't get to play this week. Bless him. Anything else before we look at the league tables on the results?
Yeah, I think given that we play them on Sunday, we should probably highlight that Solihull had a much better weekend this weekend.
2 impressive wins.
Two very impressive wins, especially Saturday. And I think that's them just posting that we on this podcast who've already written them off possibly shouldn't just yet, but they've got a long way to come back, but they're certainly not going to go down without a fight, and those are 2 very good results.
Yeah,
missing a Mulcahy brother and starting netminder Graham Laverick for injury as well. So 2 very, very impressive results.
Yeah, I was going to say the
on the road as well, both of them.
Other than that, it was the usual Mulcahy, Otterson, points galore across the weekend. So it's been kind of a theme. Team comes into form. Who do they play next? It's the Billingham Stars. We'll talk about that shortly. We'll have a quick look at the league tables. We'll just flash that up there. So the league table, still top your Billingham Stars, but only 9 points now. That's disappointing. Only 9 points. Blackburn still have a game in hand. So they're top and clear. Hull Jets moved into 3rd. 2 games more than Blackburn. And then Deeside, Solihull up to 5th, Whitley 6th, Nottingham 7, Sheffield 8, Leeds 9, again but with a game in hand, and Widnes still 5 points adrift. So again, you've got to feel sorry for it. Would they win in Deeside to move closer to Leeds, who then win in Whitley Bay to move further away again? So, but yeah, we'll see what if it is a corner turned in Widnes, but we'll keep an eye on them as they go on. As far as our cup group, not a lot's happened in the cup. As I say, it won't really until it's our Nottingham, Deeside, and the Whitley Bay head-to-heads that is the final games in the group, basically. So nothing will happen in the cup group for a couple of weeks.
Quick one on the cup ones. Am I right in saying if we beat Deeside, we've qualified? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
We will, because we've already won the home game. So if we win the away game, we'll be level on points. I mean, we'll have played Nottingham before then anyway, so hopefully we'll have enough points. But we need 4 points from the last 7. Did I tell Alan 7 points to be 100% sure? Because they can get 18. Obviously, one of them games is against us, but to be 100% sure, if we get 7 points, we're through, or if we beat them, we're through. So yeah, or lose them by less than 11-1.
Right. Okay. Just let me make these notes down for my podcast later on.
Yeah, I'll tell you to read the fixture grids. It's fine. It's easy.
No, Joe's made a bit of a mistake with this table there. That's why it's difficult to read. Yeah. He's got Deeside's max points wrong.
Is 18, yeah. In terms of, well, that's it. Well, we'll just throw this in for Jodie since she was on earlier. The Women's Elite League, we mentioned it's just the top 6 teams in the country. Solihull and the Queen Bees, they play each other, as I said, on Saturday in Slough. So Solihull Queen Bees, it's Streatham Storm, Guildford Lightning, the Whitley Bay Beacons, who are been in the Elite League for a couple of years. So great to see them on Tyneside, and the Kingston Diamonds. They're the teams who make up the Women's Elite League. We'll keep an eye on that as the season goes on. Anything more on the tables and things before we start looking at next weekend?
We're top. We're top. We're in control. Everything's in our own hands. Obviously, we were on a fantastic run of 11 games, and like I said, everything's in our own hands. We're a good team, and obviously, we've got to get back to winning ways this weekend.
Yeah, no, 100%. We as Carol said, we're 7 and a bit down in the mouth, but we are still 9 points clear at the top of the league, which is kind of where you want to be. So it's still very much in our hands. So next weekend, quickly look at all of the fixtures, and then we'll talk about Billingham's game on Sunday. Just one game on Saturday. It's Hull versus Nottingham, and then Sunday. It's starting to be a bit of a habit that I'm getting bored of Super Sundays. There's another 5-game schedule, Jono. It's too many.
3 in a row. I can't believe it.
Deeside Sheffield, Leeds Blackburn, Widnes Whitley, and Nottingham Hull. And obviously the one we're going to talk about Sunday 5:30 for Mice Arena is the Billingham Stars and the Solihull Barons. We did kind of write them off last week. They've come back with 6-point weekend, 2 good away wins. I said they're down a Mulcahy brother. They're down a starting goalie. Is it just we need to control what we control? Speak English. Hang on. Try that again, Craig. Control what we can control, Carol, and take care of business on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Traditionally, we've got a bit of a schizophrenic relationship with Solihull in that we're usually terrible when we go there, and beat them usually quite comfortably when we're up here. Hangover games notwithstanding. So we do need to keep what we're doing. We've got 2 D-men back, thank goodness. We've got potentially the fullest squad that we've had for some time. And yeah, I mean, our opponents are struggling a little bit with a couple of injuries. So I think if we can just put Sunday's performance behind us, learn the lessons that we should have learned, then I do feel a lot more comfortable talking about this game than I did about last Sunday's game. So I'm quietly confident on Sunday at the minute, bearing in mind it is Tuesday.
And we haven't been to training yet to see who is.
And we haven't been to training yet.
So who is or isn't Ison. Johnny, you mentioned the Phil Mulcahy out. We still haven't had a full prognosis on his knee injury from the Blackburn game last week. But the Dan and Otterson are still a dynamic duo, and they've still been putting the points up this weekend. And like I say, despite not having Graham Laverick, they've covered it at the back. And Alex White, who you've talked about a few times, again had himself a weekend. He had 4 helpers on Saturday and a goal and assist on Sunday. So the D are kind of covering the gaps, and we can't take them lightly.
No, absolutely not, and I think that's a good thing as well. I didn't want to obviously I've come off at a loss like we did against Blackburn, and then have to play a Widnes or a Sheffield or a Leeds I'm glad it's a solid team in Solihull, because now we have to prepare properly, and do the job on the night. We have to be focused, and we have to turn up. We've got to flip that switch again, and it's foot on the throats and take no prisoners. And back to business, and no better way to do it against a team who thinks they should be up there challenging with us. And I think it's only good that we have the chance to put them in the place and now get the job done on Sunday night.
Yeah, and the comforts of the home rink. You mentioned the big ice surface and the uneven ice surface at Blackburn. The way the last few weeks we've been pinging it around at the forum, getting back to those home comforts and say getting the personnel back in the lineup, hopefully to be more comfortable. Carol, it's hopefully going to be, comfortable is the word, be more comfortable and deliver a performance.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting post game on Sunday to hear Foz say he thought we played too narrow, which I sort of thought to myself, oh, perhaps that's understandable when you got a rink that's considerably wider in Blackburn than the one that we're used to at the Forum.
Yeah.
You can kind of understand how you fall into a certain pattern of play that suits a certain rink. Because if you've never been to Blackburn, then the difference in size of the two rinks is visibly noticeable. It's not small margins. It is quite a bit bigger. So yeah, we're back on home ice. We're back hopefully playing more settled systems. We're back on an ice surface that isn't like mogul skiing like it was on Sunday. So yeah, hopefully it's all, as you say, comfortable. It's like putting on a pair of slippers and a dressing gown.
Fancy dress? Hey, no. Christmas fancy dress. And getting back home and say the home crowd as well, Jono. Obviously, you had the travelling support in Blackburn, but getting in front of the Forum faithful have been that extra man for the last couple of years for the Stars. So getting back in front of the home crowd, plenty of noise for the players and giving them that support to help them back to form.
Yeah, I think they're going to need them a bit on Sunday as well, because I wouldn't be surprised if we started the game a bit slow and a bit touchy or a bit edgy. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if we came out all guns blazing. It's just the way Mikey has his team drilled. But I think the fans they're going to be huge, and we are going to need them this Sunday. Give the lads a lift after last weekend, and give them a big boost, and just remind them that how much we appreciate them and the efforts they put in week after week for us.
Yeah, and it's the usual 5:30 Forum Ice Arena. And the scary thing is Sunday is the 1st of December. It's like, where's the year gone?
Does that mean you're
playing Wham?
You're not playing Wham on Sunday then?
I'm not playing Wham. I'm not that guy. I don't do that. I play the game like everybody else. I'm not playing Wham, no. Just note to self. But yeah, only 3 home games in December. We've got Sunday, then we've got the Blackburn game on the 8th, and then the Whitley home game on the 28th. So 3 home games just in the month of December, but that's so scary that it is December on Sunday. But we hope we can see you at the Forum Ice Arena Sunday at 5:30 as usual. Stars against the Solihull Barons. Anything more on next weekend's fixtures before we move to any other business?
No, I think we'll all be keeping an eye on the guys that fell over on Sunday to see how they bounce back.
The game that involves all the W's, the Widnes Wild and the Whitley Warriors, certainly going to be an interesting one after last weekend's results. Yeah,
see how Widnes they had a decent performance against Whitley a week or two ago at Widnes. So with a bump of that performance in Deeside and Whitley, as we say, see how they turn out. So another Super Sunday. We'll keep an eye. Phones and social media will be busy on Sunday. Just before we close, our usual any other business. Those who can see Carol, I can't really zoom in a lot closer than making the full size, but Belfast Giants bobble hat. This weekend is Thanksgiving weekend in America, and it is the return of the Friendship 4 to Belfast. For those who don't know, it's the college hockey, the NCAA Division 1 teams from the Boston and northeastern USA area. 4 teams each year coming over. I've been to a few. The hockey is fantastic. The atmosphere is brilliant. So everybody who's there this weekend, I'm very, very jealous. Of course, I'd love to be at the Forum Ice Arena for Billingham versus Solihull. That's where I want to be. But Friendship 4, if you get the chance in the future, it is coming back in a year, and they've got the Women's Friendship 4 alternating with that as well. So to widen your hockey experiences, certainly look out for the Friendship 4. But good luck to everybody taking part this weekend. Carol, anything from you on any other business?
Yeah, I'm going to go for it. Just for our visitors from other teams. I'm just going to touch very briefly on the shenanigans from the weekend because it was pathetic. So a player gets banned, and the video of the incident goes online from various sources, and 100% of the people from other teams neutral to the incident say, yeah, that's a ban. He's gone through his head. Whether or not it was long enough is by the by, but it's a ban. And 100% of the fans of the team that the player plays for say, oh no, it's a clean hit, and cry like babies and find ways of justifying it in all sorts of weird and wonderful ways online. Get over it. And it's not that long ago that this same set of fans were crying over a player that now plays for them crying for him to get bans. Get over it, get a life, and grow up. It was pathetic.
Here endeth the lesson.
Yep.
Sorry, miss.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jono. Do you? I don't know what suspension. What
someone's been banned.
No. But no. This is where obviously we use for the club social media users Twitter forever. It shall be Twitter. But that's not a good place these days.
It's not. It's
for
not. It's
many reasons.
But it's not. It's a bit toxic. So in preparation for jumping ship, which I think may have to happen at some point, the Stars they have been on Threads for a while. If anybody took that route, don't know what happened to Threads, by the way. But we've also just opened a Blue Sky account, which is currently empty, but it's there in readiness for when the toxic ship that is Twitter finally sinks. Yeah,
no, it's not. When you go on, they call it your For You page, but it's basically Elon's advertising of everything page. So not a good place. And then when you add in hockey Twitter as well, which is a variable quality and whatever. So as Anthony Russell on his show every week, the first rule, DBAD.
DBAD, don't be a dick. Yeah.
If you feel that, and if you fall below that bar, then God help you. We're getting all judgy. Anyway. Anything else? Anything else, Carol? No? Are you good?
No, I've stopped judging. I've got off my soapbox. You're all right. You can move on to happier things.
Media team-wise, last week we had Callum on Training Talks. I know he'd been on... We nabbed him on a post-game when he wasn't man of the match because he was playing in every position available. And when he was man of the match, he ran off early, so we didn't get him post-game. So it was kind of his post-game interview for being man of the match. So I had a chat with Callum Wilkinson on, that was a Freudian slip, wasn't it?
That was terrible.
That's a series. Whatever happened to? But so we had a good Callum on Training Talks last week, and then if you want to listen to Carol's interview with Foz after Sunday's game, I say it's an in-depth 7 or 8 minutes. Foz in peak Foz form. It's well worth a listen. That's on Big Red Machine Radio. Again, the links will be. Not in Carol, they'll be down there somewhere. And this week we'll be being at training. We'll have a new playlist victim for the weekend for the home game. So we'll find out who that is, and we'll get a new volunteer for Training Talks as well. So plenty on the media side. And then Carol and I can now put our feet up for 10 minutes. And it's Mr. Jono. Any other business?
Right. Yes. Just let me get my list. I've been given a list because there's that much of it. So yeah, busy time of the year for the Supporters Club. I mentioned a fair few things last week, and then the list has just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So I will start right at the top. For everybody who needs to know and wants to go, the bus to Blackburn. We still need to get those seats filled. We are running a bonus ball for the bus to Blackburn. So if you haven't got yourself a bonus ball, get yourself in touch with the Supporters Club on social media and get them balls sorted. And also the Christmas raffle tickets. They're going like hot cakes. And while we've still got some left, come and see us at the table on Sunday. We'll sell you a boatload more. Some fantastic prizes, golf at the Belfry, cash prizes, obviously loads of booze. Who doesn't love booze at Christmas? What else have we got? Your Star of the Month will be presented on Sunday. So if you still haven't voted, your email, if you are a member, you should have your email. You've got up until Friday to do that. If you want to vote, you need to become a member. So you've got to do that before Friday, and we'll get the emails out to you. Just keep going on my list, sorry. New merch. Yes, we've got fantastic new mini jerseys. These have also been put out on social media. Players, numbers, home, away, they're all there. So come by the table on Sunday, see which one you want, and get them bought up. We have more doggy bandanas and snoods in stock. So yes, come by the table on Sunday, and we can sell you some of those. And also the sockies. This will be the last chance to order your sockies for Christmas, because it is getting very much closer. And as Craig mentioned earlier, December is start of December on Sunday, I should say. So yes, get those sockies orders in for Christmas. It is your last chance on Sunday. And that's it. That's everything.
Thanks, Fee. Thanks, Jono.
Teddy toss.
Oh, the teddy toss as well. The teddy toss. I thought you were doing that bit. Never mind.
Yeah, don't forget it, because that's going to creep up, because it's we've got Solihull and then Blackburn, home and away. Don't
Sunday
forget
the 8th.
Yeah.
Sunday the 8th will be our teddy toss.
Yes. So bring those fluffy teddies. Something else then. I was going to say fluffy dogs, but don't bring your fluffy dogs. Bring your fluffy teddies.
Teddies and soft toys wrapped in a clear plastic bag. It's the only time we encourage you to throw stuff on the ice. Well, one of the times. As we said last week, it's where one time we get to tweet Andrew Roachford, and he generally replies because we use his tune. So yeah, 8th of December is our teddy bear toss, and we'll be doing the usual, getting them into hospitals and charities around the locale. It's always a fantastic event. And the Stars fans and the visiting fans generally as well don't let us down. So we'll have that on social media as well. Nothing else on my list. Fee's given Jono a list. I've given myself a list. Everything's checked off. Everything checked off your list, Jono?
Yeah, yep. Everything's ticked off. Like I said, bonus ball. You got till tomorrow night for one draw, Saturday for another draw. So get in touch quickly to get in that to help get this bus off the ground. If you want to see it on the bus, get in touch as soon as possible, and obviously come and see us on Sunday to buy all of our wonderful merch and get your Christmas orders in.
Yeah, sounds good. And your list is done, Carol?
I didn't have a list. I just ranted. I just had a rant.
It was controlled. It wasn't a rant. Maybe next time. Next time it could be a rant.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully there isn't a next time, but this is social media and hockey Twitter and that. We'll call a veil there on this week's Starcast. Thanks to Jodie Alderson-Smith for the interview earlier on in the show. Thanks to Carol and Jono. We hope we can see you on Sunday night at the Forum Ice Arena, 5:30. Billingham Stars and the Solihull Barons in NIHL North Division 1. Whatever you're doing hockey-wise, enjoy it. Enjoy the rest of this week. I hope to see you next time on the Starcast.
Thank you for being part of this episode of Starcast, the official podcast of your Billingham Stars. Remember to like and share this episode, send a review when you can, and follow us on social media for the very latest news and to find out when the next Starcast will drop.